All right, sorry guys, technical difficulties. Tommy D, dude, finally, thank you for being here. I've been trying to set this up with you forever, but dude, fun day. Came in, that was awesome, man. Having you here training people. You know, I know a lot of people that like to train, dude. I know a lot of people that like the gym, but not quite the same excitement that you share, that you have. Like, every time I call you or try to talk to you, you're either at the gym, in the gym, you know, doing something, some sort of workout that involves the gym. Like, I'm not sure I know many people like you.
Yeah, I definitely take pride in being the biggest gym rat I know. I consider myself the gym rat.
You have shirts with gym rats on them?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think being a gym rat's very cool. Like, if you go to the gym for your place of pleasure and therapy, that's a good decision. Better than a bar or a club any day of the week. It's way more fun.
And I look at your gym, like, you know, it'll be 5 a.m., you guys will be 40 barbells deep, eating donuts, doing deadlifts. You know, how can you not be excited? And that's one of the reasons why you're one of my favorite strength coaches to talk to. Because, like, if you want someone to train you, you know, obviously we're type A and we're really, really, really into it. You know, two trainers that are super involved and super into it. But, you know, I want someone who's fully, you know, involved the way that you are. And pretty much that's your entire life.
Absolutely. When it's 4 a.m. and I know there's 30 to 40 people coming to the gym at 5 a.m., they have to be complete lunatics to wake up that early and train with me. And that's what I love. You're nuts. You want to come to the gym at 5 a.m. and turn up the music and move around like a lunatic? Hell yeah. That's way better on a Monday morning at my gym than a Friday night at a club. It's way more productive. It just lights my entire day up.
When did this start for you?
I would say back in 5th grade. Back in 5th grade, I went to the Lansdowne Y, a local YMCA around me, and from there, I just got absolutely addicted. From there, I had to go to the gym before school. Sometimes I would skip and go during lunch. I would go right after school before practice. I would go after practice, and then if I ever got pissed off at my parents or sister or whatever, I'd go to the gym. It was my place.
That's one of my favorite things about when someone first starts here. Like, for someone who doesn't really have fitness in their life or doesn't really utilize fitness to any degree, whether, you know, it's for a goal or just to get the emotional stimulus, just the change in attitude and the change towards their everyday life of work and the way they are in their relationships and how their positivity changes, their posture changes, you know, their approach towards life in every regard, you know. And I think because we're around it so much, sometimes we forget that thing. But, you know, it's an incredible, powerful thing when you're using training to improve every aspect of your existence.
I think once people realize that they're capable of much more than whatever they were taught or however they were raised, it's very empowering. Right. You know, when you do something you've never done before, or someone comes up to you and says, "Hey, you know what? I think you can do this," and someone believing in you, it feels good. It's optimistic. Those are the type of people you want to be around. The people that believe in you, the people that want to see you feel better and do better, regardless of your age, regardless of what shape you're in, if you had a surgery, whatever it is. Anybody can do it, and that's awesome.
And don't you think that's one of maybe the problems, per se, in fitness today, of a lot of these YouTube videos, a lot of the messages out there is run your body into the ground, and, you know, if you don't train hard, it's not worth it at all, or, you know, almost pushing people out of the gym rather than encouraging the gym in the positive light that we're talking about. And I think one of the most interesting things about your gym and your awesome people is it almost seems like you guys are just mastering the basics. So if you're a beginner or you're a really advanced person, like, there is a style in which that you can train with where if you use the basics and you do them really well, you know, anybody can train in that light.
Absolutely. First thing, you have to have patience. 9 out of 10 people are beginners at fitness. You could be a really good athlete, but when it comes to fitness, strength, and conditioning, people are usually beginners for about 1 to 2 years. So if you can instill some patience with an optimistic mindset, and you can just go slow and not raise your hand to quit, over time you're going to get stronger. You're going to get more fit the more you practice it.
So you think consistency is the most important thing?
Absolutely. Consistency on the basics. Simple hinging and bending over. Simple sitting down and getting up. Putting your arms over your head and pulling things down. Pushing things away from you and pulling it towards you. Those simple factors, if you practice those barbarically well, if you do the basics barbarically well, when it comes to complex stuff, it'll come a lot easier.
And it's a funny thing because most people don't want to take that learning curve and apply, the proper progression to prevent injury, to get better over time. It's like, anybody that ever learned to, play guitar or get good at a sport, like it's a very strange thing, the whole fitness thing, like how everybody wants it overnight. But the beauty in the results, the beauty in the getting better is all the hard work and doing it properly and having the patience to perform the push-up a little bit better each week to where maybe now you can start putting plates on your backs. And, everybody wants to run a mile right away, but not put the hard work in to do that. And the beauty is in that, right? It's, all the times of showing up and the small amounts of progression and improvement. If you
can be patient and you don't do too much, too soon, too fast, then over time you will get stronger, you will get fitter. The consistency matters. The basics, the basics, the basics. People put this false interpretation with fitness, like they have to look a certain way, or if they have to be stronger than the person to their left and right. When you can stop worrying about what everybody else is doing and just try your hardest for yourself, then you're really training. But when you're worrying about other things, it deters your training, and then you get away from consistency.
What do you think the keys to success are? I know we talk about it all the time, but like the keys, not from just an emotional standpoint, a behavioral standpoint, like in the gym or even outside of the gym. Like, is it movement? Is it walking? Like, what are some of the most important things that you think, whether it's a beginner or someone that, for longevity of fitness, for getting results, for getting to the goal that they want to accomplish, to actually do a program for, a long time down the road and a few months down the road and not just 2 weeks?
I would say, my first question is to somebody, do you feel good? Do you feel good in here?
Right.
And do you feel good right here?
Right.
If you feel good and you're happy with that, keep doing what you're doing. But if not, you need change. You're the unhappy one. So the first thing, get happy. You got to get happy before you get fit. You don't get fit and then get happy. That's where the patience game comes in. So when you do the basics, you're hinging your hips, you're squatting, you're pushing, you're pulling. 2 to 3 times a week practicing strength. 1 to 2 times a week doing some aerobic, anaerobic workouts. Going slow, not having to do everything in the gym in just a couple months. But when you stay slow, when you stay patient, you focus on the basics, and you don't let your failures stop you from going back, over time, you will get more fit.
What are 2 of the strength days that you described?
So as far as strength days, I like in here tonight, you guys were doing couplets. I love couplets. I love taking a lower body and an upper body and putting them together in splits. A squat and a pull-up, right? You have a knee dominant and then you have a pull. And then other days, maybe a deadlift or a hinge, and then you have a push. I love putting an upper body and a lower body together. Yeah. I think it saves on time. You're more metabolic. It's better for fat loss. So as far as people and approaches getting started, I love couplets. Like if you have 2 to 3 days a week, you could put a lower body and an upper body together, and there's a lot of benefit from that.
What do you think, the main rep schemes that you use or the tempos that you lift with?
Starting out.
What's the most important schemes for you?
For me, I like seeing control, that first, and awareness, right? Going smooth and slow at first. Slow is smooth, smooth is fast. I'm sure people have heard that before. Well, it's absolutely accurate in regards to strength and conditioning. If you're doing, if you say you want to practice strength, then I would say you need to do around 5 to 6 reps. They say it takes 1,000 perfect reps for someone to actually remember something. Not just reps, perfect reps. And over time, you give yourself that physical education, that body awareness. You won't have to think later on. But at first, it's just getting an understanding of how you move. Taking constructive feedback means saying, hey, you're doing this, but we actually want you to do that.
And if you're not doing it correctly, then go down and weight or increase in range of motion or increase in stability, things along those lines.
Don't be afraid to go backwards
Right.
in order to go forward.
Right.
Be humble enough, be patient enough, have a fit, healthy mind to know, like, hey, maybe I got to slow down and redo some things. We're all biased to our own movement. Unless we have outside eyes on, you're going to be biased. There's things you're going to miss.
We want to do the things that we're good at, and only the things we're good at and what we're used to, and things that we're comfortable with. What about the 2 aerobic days? What do you think 2 important aerobic things that people can do are?
I think the most important, like for me, I don't prefer running. If you like to run, that's great. That's what most people go to. They say, I want to get in shape, so I'm going to join and do Broad Street or a marathon. They think running is the quick fix to fat loss. I love walking with weight. If there's a recommendation, weighted carries, that's number 1. I'd say 1 sprint day a week where you really move as fast as you can and you're out of breath immediately. And then another day.
What would be a good beginner protocol for sprints?
Something with sprints, I would say grab some weight, put it in your hands, maybe grab a backpack, put about 10 to 20 pounds in it, hock it up really high on your back, and maybe walk as fast as you can for 40 seconds. And then maybe rest for 40 seconds after that. Maybe do about 5 rounds of that. That to me is ideal.
Yeah.
Walking in a sprint-like manner with weight, with resistance. It'll help you get stronger. You're going to develop your legs. You're going to develop your grip. You're going to develop your core. You're on one leg at a time, so you're doing everything unilaterally, and you're bringing balance.
I'm at the point where I think walking, as overly simplistic as it sounds, is one of the most important things that the human body can do. With all the research that we know, with what Dr. Stuart McGill did, with just a big arm swing. For long story short, it just relaxes that low back and works out the low back segments to a degree. And the mobility, like you go for a long walk, it's unbelievable how much better you feel from an endorphin standpoint, from a mindset standpoint, how much better your legs and your arms and everything feels.
No debate. If you're in a bad mood and you go outside and you take a walk, you're going to feel better. In regards to a therapy, I was real fortunate. Every year I hire my own personal trainer, so I don't get biased. And when I worked with Jim Ferriss, I asked him, he worked with a lot of pro athletes, and I wanted to know his approaches with it. And I said, what's your go-to for getting them stronger, faster, more conditioned? And he said, weighted carries. And it's just a safe approach to it. If you carry weight, you're most likely going to get better. If you walk with weight, you will get better.
Right. It's interesting.
I love weighted carries.
I actually don't do that a lot. I'll definitely start trying that. We'll hike soon and do that. Real quick, what about nutrition? Like, what do you think the most important steps or aspects of nutrition are for very basic and very simplistic approaches?
For the very beginner basics of it,
for someone to be healthy.
Yes. 1, don't skip your vegetables. Get a vegetable in you before noon, unless you have some type of restriction you're not allowed to. 2, don't eat to get full. If you're looking for fat loss, don't eat to get full. And I like to use the rule of 2 hands. Don't eat more than can fit in 2 hands. You'll be fine. Most of the time, it's just your bad habit saying you're hungry and you want and need more. So, hydration, chug the water down. Don't, get rid of the sodas. Get rid of the sugary drinks. You're just drinking calories that are just going to drain your energy over time. So hydration, eat your vegetables. Get your lean meat proteins in there. If you don't eat meat because you're a vegetarian, you got to have protein for tissue repair. If you don't have energy, don't leave out the carbs. Carbs are not bad. I prefer good fats over traditional carbs, olive oils, avocados, things of those nature. Nothing's bad. No one's going to become obese because they ate apples.
Right. And the key is just understanding what you like to eat. Like, if you really hate something and you don't want to put it in your body, don't put it in your body. But you have 72 other options. And, you have to customize it to what you will eat. If you don't like a certain protein powder, don't buy that protein powder. Don't eat that protein powder. If that protein powder makes your stomach feel a certain way, don't have that one. But there's 14 other options that you could have and apply. And everybody's different. Each individual is, their own person and their own case study, and should apply what works for them, when it works for them, and how it works for them. Dude, your perspective towards life, because of all the things, being a former Army Ranger, the things that you've seen, things that you've done, the places you've been, and your style in which that you live your life, and your attitude that you apply towards people. Like, it's definitely something that rubs off on me, and I love it. Like, where does your discipline come from, and how do you think, and we should end with this, one of the most important variables and aspects, I think, from my opinion, of getting results with fitness is being disciplined. And however that you want to approach that, and whatever you can do to maintain discipline, and for you, like, that's your whole thing.
When you're taking that discipline approach, I think you got to stay optimistic. You have to laugh things off. And I always say, suffering's a choice. If you're outside in the rain with another person, 9 out of 10 times the other person's going to say, "Oh, we're getting wet," instead of just appreciating the rain. Yeah. So, some people wish for rain. So in regards to discipline, you got to laugh everything off. I remember being in Ranger school, and it would just suck. It was miserable. You were starving. You were tired. Your body was taxed out. But if you look at someone, you're like, "Hey, this sucks, doesn't it?" Yeah, no big deal. Just laugh it off. Right. Laugh everything off, and then keep it to the unknown. If you keep that repetitive approach to it over time, and you don't tap out, and you stay patient, you'll feel better because you won't have that regret. Right. So I think if you leave regret out, discipline's a lot easier. And just have fun with it. Just make fun of everything.
Making fun of it and just understanding that, if you're willing to get your workouts in any place and any time, and stop looking at things as non-opportunities rather than situations that you can make happen. Like, it doesn't matter if you're in your kitchen, you can start doing push-ups in the kitchen. Or if you're in your hotel room, there's probably a bed that you can put your foot up on and start doing step-ups on. If you're at a gas station and you don't have food on you, well, you can get the bag of almonds or the fruit that's in that gas station. So it's not always about what you don't have or where you can't train, and just kind of switching your mindset into what you can do and where you can do it and making things happen. Sometimes those are the most beautiful workouts. You were talking about you being training when you were 11 years old in your basement. Those to this day, like, those are my favorite places to train. Dude, this was so exciting having you here today, and thank you so much for doing this, man. We'll definitely do this again.
Thanks for having me, man. I had a great time.
Thanks, brother.